You know that incredible, almost magnetic pull between a child and their parent? Ever wonder what that's all about? Well, it turns out it's way more than just love or comfort. Today, we're going to get into the powerful science behind that bond.
Welcome to The Explainer. So, everything we're talking about today is based on a fantastic blog post from River and Riley, who you might know from the Motherhood podcast. They did a really great job breaking down the science of childhood attachment, and we're going to walk through it. And they kick things off with this quote that just hits the nail on the head. This emotional bond, it's not just about feeling cozy and safe, it's a biological imperative. That's a powerful way to put it, right? It means this isn't some optional extra, it's fundamental. It literally shapes everything that follows.
All right, so here's our game plan. We're going to break this down into 5 parts. First up, what is attachment, really? Then we'll look at the 4 stages of how it develops. After that, we'll get into the different attachment styles you see. Then the really practical stuff, strategies for building a secure bond. And finally, we'll wrap up with why all of this matters for a person's entire life.
Okay, let's dive right into part 1. The big question, what exactly is attachment? You can think of it as the literal foundation for a child's entire emotional and social life. It's the blueprint for everything.
So the official definition is that it's this deep emotional bond between a child and their caregiver. But it's not just a feeling. It actually does 3 really critical jobs. It helps the kid learn how to handle their emotions, it gives them the confidence to go out and explore the world, and this is a big one, it sets the stage for all the relationships they'll form later in life.
So how does this bond actually form? I mean, it doesn't just happen overnight, right? Well, researchers have figured out that it's a pretty predictable journey, one that unfolds in 4 clear stages.
Okay, so from birth up to about 3 months, you've got the pre-attachment phase. Basically, babies aren't too picky about who's comforting them. Then, from 3 to 7 months, they enter attachment in the making, and you start to see some preferences. But things get really interesting in that 3rd stage, clear-cut attachment. This is where that super intense bond forms, where you see separation anxiety, and where the whole idea of a secure base really takes root. After age 3, it shifts again into more of a partnership.
All right, now this is important. The quality of that bond in these early stages, it leads to different patterns of behavior, what psychologists call attachment styles. And this is where you can really see how those first relationships start to shape who we become.
The good news is the research shows that most kids, about 2/3 or 67%, develop what's called a secure attachment. But as you can see here, that leaves a pretty big chunk, about 1/3 of kids who develop insecure styles. And those usually fall into 2 main camps, avoidant or resistant, which is sometimes also called ambivalent.
So what does that actually look like in real life? Well, a securely attached kid feels confident that their caregiver has their back. They use that person as a secure base, like a home base in a game of tag, to go explore from, knowing they can always come back for comfort. An insecurely attached child, though, they might act like they don't need anyone, or they might be really inconsistent. They just struggle to use their caregiver as that safe spot. It's easy to see how these are 2 totally different ways of experiencing the world as a little person.
Okay, so that's all the theory, but what about the how? How do you actually build that secure bond? Well, that's what we're getting into next. This is all about the practical, evidence-based tools that parents and caregivers can actually use.
For babies, especially in that first year, it's actually pretty straightforward. You might be surprised. The research is super clear on this. The number one thing is just consistent, sensitive responsiveness. That's it. It just means trying your best to read your baby's cues. A cry, a little fuss, a happy coo, and responding to them in a way that fits the moment.
And get this is probably the most powerful and reassuring fact in all of attachment research. You do not have to be perfect, not even close. Studies have found that if you can provide that secure, comforting response just half the time your baby needs you, it dramatically increases the chances of a secure attachment, just 50% of the time. That feels doable, right? That takes so much pressure off.
Now, once kids hit the toddler stage, their needs start to change a bit. They are absolutely wired to explore, to go out and see everything, but they still desperately need to know you're there for them when they come back. A really amazing framework for handling this push and pull is called the circle of security.
The circle of security is brilliant because it's so simple. It's basically 4 key ideas. First, you support your child's exploration. You're their secure base to launch from. Second, you welcome your child back when they need comfort. You're their safe haven. Third, you help them figure out their big emotions. And fourth, you're not afraid to take charge in a kind way when you need to. You're the captain of the ship.
And for older kids, say 3 and up, the focus shifts again. It becomes less about the constant in and out of exploration and more about repair. Look, moments of disconnection are going to happen. You'll get frustrated, they'll get upset. The key is to maintain that open emotional connection by repairing those moments. It's all about saying, oops, acknowledging what happened, and then reconnecting.
So, why do we focus so much on these early years? Why does all this stuff matter? Well, it's because the foundation that gets built in these first few years has a massive impact that literally lasts a lifetime.
I mean, this is the real payoff, right? The research on this is overwhelming. A secure attachment in childhood leads to a whole host of long-term benefits. We're talking better emotional health, stronger relationships as an adult, even better academic performance, and more resilience. And maybe the most amazing part? It creates this beautiful positive cycle, because these kids often grow up to become sensitive, responsive caregivers themselves.
So, if there's one thing to take away from all of this, it's this. The goal isn't to be a perfect parent or caregiver. The goal is connection. It's just about being present and putting the relationship first. So I'll leave you with a question to think about. How can you repair a little rupture today? What's one small thing you can do to connect?
Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer. If you want to dive deeper into any of this and check out all the studies and citations we talked about today, you can find that original blog post from River and Riley over on their website, motheroohq.com.